Could have been Potsy Loves Chachi.
Or Joanie Loves Potsy. Yeah.
No, I said what I said.
Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, the show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate it and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about Joanie Loves Chachi. Joanie Loves Chachi went 17 episodes over 2 seasons on ABC. Today we're talking about episode 1, which was called Chicago, originally airing March 23rd, 1982. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me, as always, the boys, Joe, Ferg, Nick, and Gordo. What's going on, guys?
Gumbat.
That was a Y or an I-E. No one is happy with me right
before we start talking to everybody, I want to tell everyone, welcome to week 2 of our Mother's Month for the month of May. We figured we have 5 Thursdays in this month. Why don't we give all of our mothers a pick in celebration of Mother's Day, make it an entire month? So this week is Joe's mom's pick.
No, tell the truth.
Sorta.
Yeah. Tell the truth. Joe's mom hates him.
Yeah, my mom won't respond to me. But I remember a conversation a long time ago with my dad talking about how much he hated having to watch Joanie Loves Chachi when my mom was watching it every week. And it just seemed like that was the perfect pick out of my mom just never texting me back, not answering her phone.
Your dad and me have something in common. I also hate watching Joanie Loves Chachi with your mom.
Well, my mom and me have something in common because I love this. And I love Scott Baio singing.
Well, we'll get it all. And I do want to make it known, this wasn't like Joe didn't text his mom once or twice. This has been going on for months.
We have chat logs, and by chat logs I mean 70 messages with one message here that says happy birthday.
It's probably an automated one that she set up.
So now, like, Joe, like over the last like handful of months, I've been to your house a few times, and like your mom's been there.
Yep.
Is that all communicated through your father?
1000%.
And then like when you see her, are you ever just like, hey?
Yeah, and then she just walks away from him.
Yeah, like, you're my mom, right? She's like, who are you again?
She's just like, where's the baby? And then walks away.
I mean, essentially, even if that wasn't the case, that is the move, right? Where's the baby? Right away.
And then you go right here, and I made a boom boom.
All right, yeah. So anyways, yeah, week 2 of Mother's Month. So Joanie Loves Chachi. We did Happy Days a while ago, probably a couple years back at this point. So, you know, the spinoff starring Joanie and Chachi, obviously. I have a lot of questions, and
Yeah, so do I.
I'll say this, like we're gonna get into it as we talk about it, but so I think when we talk about a show like this, we try to forget anything we know about the future run of the show, as we say. But to acknowledge anything leading up to is fair. So Happy Days is all, you know, we should know. I watched a lot of Happy Days. I don't remember like every bit of like the later seasons. Was Joanie and Chachi being a musical act, was that a thing that like was even touched on in the show?
Everybody was a musical act.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. Like, if you remember like Pinky and Leather Tuscadero, there's like Susie Quattro. And
yes, I remember all that stuff.
Yeah, so this is similar to that. And then Al falls in love with Ellen, who's Chachi's mom.
Okay, I don't remember her in any way, shape, or form.
I do, yeah.
That's the silly thing about the show, though. They should at least show you something at the beginning. You
Agreed.
just, all of a sudden, you get dropped in and, oh, Al lives in Chicago now. It's like, what happened to Arnold's? Like,
I think, though, the way they did it is the lead-in episode. Like, Happy Days is on before this. So if you were watching Happy Days, that episode...
That shouldn't be, though. It shouldn't be like that.
I agree. And as historically, especially, right? Like, it's hard to see that now.
Yeah.
But I think at the time they were thinking Happy Days has such a giant audience that if we do this, it will lead in and this will get huge ratings. People will watch it, which worked until they changed the time slot.
This makes this incredibly difficult to be impartial on the first episode because I hate it. And I hate that it's part of another show's origin, right? And they don't separate themselves. I get why they did it. I understand why it is the way it is. But what I'm saying is watching this in 2025, being super removed from Happy Days and all its other, organics, it makes this impossible to understand and enjoy because there's just nothing there to relate to anymore.
I'll say this in fairness to the creators and the network. They gave zero shits about 2025 when they made the show in 1982.
And I get that.
And even then, they don't need to. Most of them are dead. You know what I mean? Like, there's no residuals they're looking for.
But then we have, but what I want to ask though is, for our green lights and cancels, are we going to view this through the eyes of 2025, somebody in 2025, or somebody in the eyes of this era? Because
I think you take what you know. If you know, I mean, it is what it is. It's one of those things when you're talking about a spinoff, there's different approaches, and they relied heavily on your knowledge of Happy Days going into the show. Now, obviously, in hindsight, it's more difficult for us to do that in 2025 than versus 1982. In 1982, if you were watching Joanie Loves Chachi, and in fairness, no one was going to watch Joanie Loves Chachi if you didn't already like Happy Days. Like, you couldn't dislike Happy Days and be like, but I might like this one. It just wouldn't have worked out that way.
Yeah, but that being said, we're 5 people that loved Happy Days. We watched it on everything.
But we didn't watch it live as it was happening with the later stuff being freshest in our head. You know what I mean? We've watched random episodes out of order the entirety of our lives. We've never front to backed Happy Days.
To Nick's question, though, I would say split the difference, right? So even if you don't remember the Joanie and Chachi storyline, even if you just watched, which we did, obviously, for the podcast, the pilot of Happy Days, you know the parents, you know who Joanie is.
Yeah.
And think of it as, this is her character's show also, I guess, right? Like, so even if you were trying to take it that way, you could be like, well, and I think they were smart to we'll talk about it, but I think it was smart to get Joanie's parents involved, right? Like that. Yeah. It's like the Laverne and Shirley pilot getting Fonzie, right?
And to be completely fair, if you think about the show, take Happy Days out of your brain. You can watch this show and not know anything about Happy Days and just know that these people moved to Chicago. They opened up a restaurant. This guy has a girlfriend in Milwaukee. Like, all that can still be true without knowing Happy Days.
Yeah, that's true.
It can be true, but it doesn't. So for instance, there's we'll get. I'm not, because I'm getting way ahead here. So I'm just gonna. We'll figure it when we get there. Yeah,
it's hard. Yeah, we'll get to it. But I will say there are a lot of weirdness to this though. Where you're like, so they just keep doing things from 1980 and saying it's 1960, and it's very, very confusing. Like, the music they sing is very modern. The outfit that Chachi comes in wearing, that outfit, and you're like, he looks like he's in the fucking neck. Like, he does not look like it's 1960. There's the ID bracelet thing. That's a very 70s thing. Like, they weirdly are just like playing fast and loose with the timeline here.
And Joe, much like you've already made it known that you like this reminds me of something else that was not quite time appropriate. You have often gone on record that you are a bigger Grease 2 fan than Grease 1. And I feel Grease 2 is a victim of that at times with some of their songs where they weren't completely tied. Some were, but some were not.
I agree. And I think
Grease
because
2
of that,
sucked.
The greatest song that ever came out of any Grease is Reproduction. And that is a Grease 2 song. Thank you.
Right. But Cool Rider isn't exactly era appropriate.
No, Grease 2, again, did play fast and loose. But I do enjoy Grease 2 more than Grease 1.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, someone had to.
Somebody had to. And I do love Joanie Loves Chachi.
IMDb has this 3.9. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't have this listed at all. And if you want to watch this show, you can go on YouTube. It's available right there. I don't know if it's on any streamers. I didn't see anything listed when I was looking it up, but you can go on YouTube and find the episode.
There is a full series DVD, though, so it does exist.
I have a question. Why Joanie and Chachi, with this plethora of characters they could have chosen from Happy Days? Like, why not the Ralph Mouth Show or the Potsy Show?
Did you really want to watch the Ralph Mouth Show, though?
I like them more than Joanie or Chachi.
But Scott Baio's like teen heartthrob, like Scott Baio. There's a lot of stock in him. There's a lot of interest in his
magazine
character.
and Teen Beat and all that stuff is talking about Scott Baio.
Scott Baio was huge at that time. So, and you already do have other spinoffs. You have Laverne and Shirley. You have Mork and Mindy. So, like, you are taking as much out of this show as humanly possible.
Yeah, it's not like this is the only one. I think there's 5. There's like the Beauties Show too. There's a bunch of spinoffs to Happy Days.
Give me a show what happened to Chuck Cunningham, all right?
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Can Chuck Cunningham have a feathered haircut, though, and sing a song written by the guy who was in the Chattanooga Cats? I don't think so.
We wouldn't know because he disappeared like after the first
He
episode.
took his basketball and just disappeared.
I assume he died in Korea, is the story we're going with?
Oh.
I think he dropped his basketball and rolled down the street, and he's still chasing it to this very day.
We all bounce down here, Chuck.
Oh no, shaky-headed Pennywise is gonna get
No,
him.
it's 2020's Pennywise. Woo, Chuck, woo!
To jump right into this, the intro opens up. It's the title of the show, Joanie Loves Chachi. We see Chachi, Scott Baio, sitting there at a piano, and he's playing the piano and singing the song. At this point, I wasn't sure if this was the intro. As it goes on past the scene, you can tell it's the intro, but to open up, it just seemed like a very odd start because, again, coming from Happy Days into this, I'm like, is the show like a musical? What's going on here?
Are we not going to discuss the controversy of the name of the show?
Well, okay. Well, I guess to go back real quick, Chachi in what Korean means penis.
I think it's Korean, yeah. Where Chuck died. That's where they got the idea for
So
it.
there's folklore that the show is like really popular in Korea, but there's actually no indication that it was ever shown in Korea. But yes, in translated there, if you're half translating, it would be Joanie Loves Penis.
Well, we did get out of a war with them, so that was probably a way for us to just, grind them even further, was showing them this show.
In 1982?
Yeah, why not?
I think, though, like, obviously that story falls apart because it's not true, but also it would fall apart because that's like saying that's like saying Bob Hart's Abishola is a TV show and Abishola means penis. And then because of that, the show was a huge hit because people thought the joke of a language they didn't speak, having a person loves penis as the title, made the show popular. Like, that's not gonna be a thing. That's like a joke. It's like a Mad Magazine
It's
joke.
funny for sure. And it's also like, it does remind me though, if you remember MTV's Tiki God during like spring break was Mojo
Yes, I
Chachi.
do.
And I think that meant like inhale my dick or something like
Something
that.
like that,
Translated.
Back when MTV was worth watching.
So, but yeah, back into the intro, it's this musical vibe, and then it kind of morphs into the intro, and we're seeing like all the characters with titles, but just seeing the two singing like in a room alone, I was like, what is this show? But again, I didn't have the memory of them being musicians towards the end of Happy Days, so it caught me off guard.
So this is I tried to think, have I ever seen this show? The answer to that is kind of, because I remember this intro, like that hit me. And then once I saw the show, nothing.
So what that tells me is you went on YouTube and said like intros from the 80s or something, and this
Yeah,
came
that
up.
could mean that you have seen the intro at some point in time,
Maybe.
like in a compilation video.
This definitely played when Nick at Night would do one-off stuff, though. Like, I've definitely seen episodes of this before. Like, they would play random stuff. Like, they played, like, the George Carlin show that lasted for, like, one season. They would throw random stuff on occasionally. So I feel like we all probably saw some of this at some point.
I knew of it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I think the cultural weird reference point for most of us to this is Dodgeball, right?
Yeah.
Joanie Loves Chachi.
Yeah.
It's, I was waiting for someone to do it. I just thought Ferg would have done it by now.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, again, this show comes out in 1982. Happy Days becomes a huge syndication. We're not born until collectively our group 85 and 86. So we're not here for its original run. Happy Days stays a part of pop culture for decades to come. We see it nonstop on Nick at Night. Now, even though this is a direct spinoff, this doesn't get that same syndication run that Happy Days gets. So maybe by proxy, at times it gets a little bit of airing on networks, but we're not being super exposed to this show.
It is also one of those weird things, too, when you think about it, where this is like 1982 and it's supposed to be 1962. And you're like, how much would this show not be successful if it was from 20 years ago now? Like, nobody wants to watch a show from 2003.
It's weird. We've had that discussion. It's, I feel like the decades from the 50s to the early 2000s all really transformed a lot, decade to decade, had like more distinct music and visuals and style, where I think kind of from the early 2000s on now in the last 20 some odd years, not that things have stayed the same, but it's not as, you don't see it as much.
You guys keep talking about The Office.
If you're using music as the baseline for that, though, music has died in the past 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
I think other ways, though, you can definitely see, big, like, lines and, cultural differences between the decades. But music is the tough one, right? Because music did define those generations or those decades pretty well.
I don't think that music is dead. I just think that we live in a world now where you don't have to just like what little is available to you. So now, I mean, there would be a handful of rock bands, and those were the rock bands of that decade because they broke through. And other than that, how would you hear bands if they weren't on the radio? Now you can go online and, some guy could just record his shit and put it out there and you can stumble across it. So it's a lot easier for more people to be known on a smaller scale, which creates less superstars. But even then, there are still superstars today. I just think that the pool is much larger.
So I think the major difference is each era seems wildly different to us because we didn't live through them. But from like the 90s on when we're in music, that changed with us, so it almost feels like nothing changed.
It's experience bias. You were there for it, so it's different to you because you weren't there for the other ones.
Sure, but we don't see as much of it either, though. Like, we've talked in the past about this kind of same thing, where we can have, when we did Happy Days, we have a show that's in the 70s about the 50s. And when we had that 70s show, we had a show in the 90s about the 70s. They were doing that. Like, you didn't have to go that far back to make a show that was about a past generation, and it looked significantly different.
Yeah, but if you did that now, it would be like Butt Rock and Jenkos and like Limp Bizkit, which all isn't like really around now.
You could, yeah. I mean, I just don't think it's as shocking, but yeah, sure. I mean, there's ways to do it.
I think a live action That's My Bush remake would be the way to do it.
That's My Bush was live action.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, now, though, like, they just throw to things so easily to be like, it's animated because it's easier. Like, you have to keep it live action and make it like a sitcom.
I also had Lil Bush.
And Camp Bush, right?
I don't know what Camp Bush is.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Camp
Wasn't
Bush.
that the one where they went off to, like, summer camp?
I think that was an episode of Lil Bush.
Oh, I think that was its own TV show.
Are you confusing Clone High?
No one knows what that is, Joe.
I know what that is.
Nobody knows what Camp Bush is.
He's thinking of an episode of Lil Bush. I'm almost
No,
positive.
Camp Bush was its own show.
Can I just say, first off, has nothing to do with Joanie Loves Chachi or Happy Days. And also, Gordo, how dare you ever tell anyone
They don't know something?
that no one like knows what someone else knows?
I'm Googling Camp Bush right now, and I just want to see Gordo's reaction to his Google results.
Yeah.
Is it 18 plus?
No, it doesn't exist.
Thing.
Google doesn't know what it is. So,
Yeah, well, you know what? Google isn't always right.
according
It's
to you.
it's right more often than Gordo, though. So I feel like that's
It's
where we're
not. Gordo won. Google nothing.
Don't use Gorgle.
Right. So, first scene, we see Al. Al, we would know from Happy Days, walks up to his apartment. He's trying all this food that's being cooked in these large pots. I complained about this during the Charmings. I'm going to complain about it now. Everything completely fucking empty, and it's driving me nuts. You can hear the the spoons hitting empty pans. All you had to do is put water in there. Water would have been fine.
What are you talking about? There was boiling pants in there.
I'll give it to Al. Al was doing a phenomenal job with his physical acting. His pantomiming was great, but you just can't get around it.
He's one of our great face actors.
Yeah, I thought he was hilarious, but it was bothering me so much because the second you could hear it, it's all I can focus on.
I'm glad. I was waiting to call you out if you didn't bring that up.
No, it bothered me during the Charmings, and it bothered me now. Hated it.
Also, in this scene, for the first time, we get something that I think makes, to Ferg's point, or against Ferg's point, why this was a spinoff. The crowd fucking loses it so many times during this. These characters were so over that it would be impossible not to try to give them a spinoff.
The crowd would have popped for any character from Happy Days that came out.
I really don't think Ralph Malph eating a pair of pants would have gotten the same pop. I just don't think it would happen.
Al could have still ate the pants.
To clue you all in, not all the pots were empty. There was one that had water in it.
Well, what if Ralph Malph was eating out of Potsy?
Yeah, when he tried to eat out of that one, his face turns. We see that his wife Louisa is trying to boil a stain out.
I don't think you can do that. As somebody who
Al
is...
shit his pants, and she's trying to boil
Also,
the
what kind of stain was that you were like, boil it?
Will that like severely shrink your clothes though if you boil them?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I have a question. Was Happy Days still going on
It was.
with this?
This show went through the entirety, like it was still going when it got canceled. Happy Days was still on, and they literally put the characters back into Happy Days. They were like, you move back to Wisconsin now. Boodaloop.
Who's running Arnold's?
Well, Arnold's, this isn't Arnold's, this is Al, because Al has the...
Al owned Arnold's.
Arnold owned Arnold.
No, he took over.
Right, but then didn't he make it the drive-in?
It started as a drive-in in the original incarnation.
Right, but then it's the restaurant, like when Al does the Weezer video.
Yeah.
And I think it was still Arnold's.
It might have been still Arnold's. I don't know. It's like Joe's, Jim's, Mario's. I'm not sure who took it over when Al was on Joanie Loves Chachi. Maybe they just never ate food for a season and a half. They're like,
Again,
nobody
this
eats.
is where it gets tricky because we don't have that fresh recollection of the exact, like, where are we on that show at that time. But yeah, so Louisa comes out. Louisa is played by
Ellen Travolta.
sorry, I was looking for it. Yeah, Ellen Travolta.
Now, is there a relationship?
It's his mother.
So
It's
that's
his sister.
It's a sister. Oh, that is right. It's a sister.
His sister. You're confusing Jackie
I was gonna
Stallone.
say mother.
You're confusing Jackie Stallone on Glow.
You're right.
I knew right away what you were doing, yeah.
You're right. She comes out, and we find out like this is also the day that like her whole family is coming to visit, like because they're having like the grand opening of the restaurant. So apparently, again, they're all moving. They moved to Chicago to open up this restaurant. That's the premise.
And also, too, though, like she's like, that's my uncle. Was he not at the wedding? How many Italian weddings have all of us been to where it's like, oh, there's 10,000 people here. Anybody in the family is invited.
Yeah, but she already has a son and is getting married again.
We've talked about this. Second weddings can be a lot
That's
smaller
true.
if barely existent.
And also, he clearly says, like, Chachi's in diapers. And he sees him, he's like, Chachi, you're an adult. You're handsome. Like, so he hasn't been around for a while. Also, we'll get to it when we get there, but somebody I was so excited to see.
Oh, yeah. So we're not there yet. So she's trying to help him out, get ready. She's trying to like help him fix his pants, and it just kind of turns into like her behind him and like tickling him, and he's like jumping around, and this gets a good crowd pop right there. This is also when Chachi walks into the room for the first time, seeing his mom tickling Al.
She's tickling him like he's a baby. He's doing like, tickle. Like, it's so weird to be doing that to your 45-year-old husband.
I don't know why, but Joe's saying that makes me.
I have a lot of practice. I tickle a baby fairly often at this point in my life.
It almost reminded me of like the weasel laugh from Billy Madison that Carl he does, but he's doing the impression of Carl.
Actually, I stole this restaurant from Frank.
So he walks up to his mom. He's like, "Hey, have you seen my ID bracelet?" Like, "Yeah, you gave it to Joanie." "Oh, that's right. Well, I gotta pick it up. I'll see you in 4 hours."
Two things here. One, that's a very 70s trend.
The ID bracelet. I want to say we've discussed this a long time ago.
We discussed it earlier in the episode.
No, we talked about it on the show a long time ago.
We've talked about ID bracelets way back.
Like, you'd get your name on it, then give your bracelet to your special person, and they wear it and show that they were like claimed by you, which is fucking weird. But like, that wasn't a thing that happened at all in the time frame of this episode, which is very weird.
So I don't know if it's fair to say that that's weird because it's not very different from the symbolism of a wedding ring.
I'm not saying it's weird that you did it. I'm saying it's
clattering.
weird that they would push it to be a thing then. Well, here, no. It's weird if you do it because your name's on it. Like, a wedding ring is a thing. You're like, I'm married. If my wedding ring said my wife's name on it, I feel like that'd be, or like property of, that would be weird.
Well, the ID bracelet doesn't say property of Chachi.
You don't know that. You don't see it.
That's fair.
Did it say property of?
No,
We never know.
No, they never did. He's just trying to make a point.
Oh, okay. I don't know how things worked.
I know.
Gordo, it's 200 and something episodes, and the truth finally comes out.
I'll admit when I'm wrong. Like,
No, you will not.
it was Little
don't know if you
Bush.
can say that,
Berg
but-
was right. It wasn't called Camp Bush. The episode 2 was called Camp Nuke. That's where I messed it
And
up.
that's why Gordo's been silent for the past 10 minutes.
He's been Googling.
Reconciling this.
Trying not to move because I have a cat on my lap.
So,
Claws are in my leg.
anyways, the whole thing with this ID bracelet is just he's trying to find an excuse to get out of there to go see his girlfriend.
Why doesn't he just go? He's an adult.
I don't know. Is it his car? Like, I don't know. But
I think it's because he lives at home. The family is coming and it's opening night of the restaurant. Like, he's expected to be there.
He's an adult, but he's still treated like he's the kid from Happy Days. Like, there's
sure.
no, like, adulthood from Chachi.
But think of being a teenager when you had a girlfriend, right? You were like, you want to go spend time with them. You don't want to do family stuff. I think that's what they're trying to say more. Like, he'd rather drive 4 hours to see his girlfriend he hasn't seen in 2 weeks.
But it's not even that far. I think he was accounting for back and forth commute and some hangout time because it's only about an hour Milwaukee to Chicago.
I don't remember the lore. Was he Fonzie's nephew?
I thought so.
Chachi was Fonzie's younger cousin on the show Happy Days.
Okay.
Okay, I remember he was connected to Fonzie.
I'm surprised they didn't shoehorn Fonzie, too.
He's just eating soup again.
Go back and listen to our Laverne and Shirley episode.
They really make his character so fucking weird in the Laverne and Shirley pilot. It's so weird.
He's just eating pants soup.
Hey, Al, the soup's really good. Oh.
So his mom's telling him, like, don't worry, like, we can head there in like a month. Like, we just want to wait and see, everything with the restaurant and get everything settled. And then we'll take a trip over there. And he's like, a month. And as they're arguing, we hear people coming up. That's the family. She's like, oh no, I'm not ready yet. So she runs upstairs as the rest of the family's coming in. And we see maybe like a dozen or so of the family all kind of flooding into their smaller apartment.
Question. So why does he have to wait a month when him and her are supposed to be the musical act for the restaurant?
Well, they weren't. He was supposed to be.
It was just him, yeah.
I thought it was always them.
No, he
No.
just figured out a way to like get her involved in it.
Okay.
We flash forward. This show does this a million times, by the way. They couldn't all possibly be commercial breaks, but it's just a lot of like flash forward to not have to transition things. So it's constantly flashing forward into the same scene. So we see the family and Luisa's talking to Al and she's like, oh, that's Uncle Rico. Not that Uncle Rico, but
Yeah, the
Coach
good one.
put me in, we would have won state.
she describes him as like, he thinks he's head of the family. The rest of us don't.
But that contradicts that because she says that and then they all treat him like he runs the family.
I think it's that he's so
unbearable.
or overbearing, I believe, that it's just easier to let him feel that way.
I mean, she literally says that. I think she literally says it's easier to just let him think that he is.
That's silly. You got to put people like that in their place.
You do. And because he says, like, goombats.
We find out he's a very bad police captain in both Police Academy 2 and 3. He glues his whole hands to his hair and walks out in the middle of the precinct naked. So, I mean, he's not that smart.
That's right.
Mauser? No.
He's Captain Mauser. Yowzer, yowzer.
Who's Boner?
I mean, that there are Charles in Charge that's not Charles in Charge. That's
No, that's growing
That's
pains.
growing
Yeah.
pains.
I was trying to give you it out, Gordo, but I couldn't do it. Sorry.
As soon as he walks over, Al tries to get out of Dodge. But that doesn't work. He's like, hey, Goomba. And Rico gives him a big hug. And he's like, listen, Sal. It's Al. It's like, whatever you say. He said, I saw your restaurant downstairs. He's like, you know what you need? Music. He's like, yeah, we've got, we got music set up. Like, Chachi's going to be performing downstairs. He's like, Chachi's like a little baby. What's he going to sing? I'm a little teapot, doopy doop. And that's when Chachi walks up. He's like, hey, who are you? I'm Chachi. Chachi. And he goes, you got big. You got cute. You got a manager?
Hey, yo.
Also, the way this works out later that we find out, if Chachi was a baby, he could perform there because you perform one song at a time and then take
Right.
very long breaks. It is the weirdest entertainment schedule of all time.
You can also all perform without rehearsing at all.
Oh, yeah, I want to get into that. That's going to be a much larger conversation. So,
It's a magic stage.
Mama said they were my magic stage.
That's Mama's magic stage.
so it becomes like, all right, well, if you're any good, I could probably get you some real jobs that pay. But if that's the case, doesn't that create a problem anyways, by the way? Like, hey, we don't need a musical act. We have Chachi. And then Chachi shows up and he goes, well, if you're any good, I can get you some paying jobs. Well, if you do that, then now the restaurant has no act again. So I think everything was pretty solved until Rico got involved.
Unless, though, hear me out, if you get him around town and he becomes a bigger deal, then when you get him to play at the restaurant, more people come to the restaurant to see him, buy more food, buy more drinks.
Sure.
But you do have to have people to fill in the days he's not there. Like that's just like the booking thing, right? Like you want to get people out there to be a big deal so you can bring in places and get a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
But you do also need other bands to play or musicians to play when that person's not there.
And then if you fail, you have to become a nanny to a bunch of kids.
I love the idea that Chachi is Chachi in charge. You have to go do this. Like, oh, my career didn't work out.
So Rico brings all this up, and now Chachi's like, oh, that'd be great. He's like, you should hear me sing with my girlfriend. He's like, we're like a team. Like, I'll go call her. He's like, no outsiders. He like runs off, and Al's like, no, you should really hear her. She's really quite. And he like cuts her. He's like, do you ever stop talking? He's like, oh, I'm only kidding. And he gives him like a kiss and a hug, and you get another good like kind of like facial expression from Al.
Al's face acting is so fun here. It's like he's one of those people who like knows how to use every muscle. Like, there's like that line where it's like it takes X amount of muscles to smile. Like he knows how to use all of them separately somehow. Like he can make his whole face just like dance around.
So now we flash to the like grand opening at Al's new restaurant, which very different vibe from the diner in Milwaukee. This is more of like a classic, like nicer-ish restaurant.
Tiny little stage. It does have the like red carpety Catholic guilt feeling about it though. It's a little dark. It's a little weird. It feels a little Goodfellas-y. It's
the nice little Italian restaurant that your family took you to when you were a kid.
Yeah.
The Baba da Boop.
A place like that probably has the best chicken parm
Eggplant
ever.
parm.
No.
Yeah.
I would burn Chachi's to the ground. Del Vecchios can go to fucking hell if they only serve eggplant parm.
So we get into the scene and you see him like saying goodnight to a few of the customers. Like we're in the middle of the evening. It's not like they just opened. The night's kind of underway. And I think just to get the exposition in, the customers who are leaving try going upstairs. And Al goes, oh, no, that's where we live. The restaurant's over here, like, come in this way. Like, I think they try to sneak that in real quick just to help you understand if it wasn't clear from earlier.
Why wouldn't you just block that off?
Because they want their house to always smell like delicious Italian food.
I'm sure there's a door, but, like, what can you do? Like, you can only do so much to block
Yeah,
it.
there's a door no matter what, but, like, if it's a building that's retrofitted from a house to be commercial on the bottom floor. So you can't, there's supposed to be a door up, right? It's like when you have a bedroom in an attic. You still have to go to the existing stairwell up to the attic.
And then while Al's helping some new customers sit down, we see Rico and Chachi both walk out from like maybe the kitchen area into the main spot. And this is when you see Chachi dressed with like that white jacket and red shirt. I think this is kind of what you were referencing to earlier, Joe. Like, this doesn't really seem very 60s.
So if they were trying to do like a British invasion thing, you could still have him in a suit, but it would look very different than this. This is a very much like of its time rock and roll suit. He looks like Eddie Money. He doesn't look like the Beatles. You know what I mean? Like it's too modern.
And then now to get a little bit into Ferg, what you were saying earlier, this is when right before performing, he meets his band for the first time. Two of them are his cousins. They're like Rico's kids, Mario and Annette, who are just sitting at the table. They're like doing some weird like hand game. Like I don't
know what this game is.
Yeah. So they're there and it's kind of like an awkward exchange with them.
I do like them though, because he looks kind of rock and roll in a weird way where he's got the fedora and she's just like the most like weirdly aloof, wouldn't be in a band person ever. Like I do love the like oddballness of this band. And the greatest character of this entire series is Bingo, for fucking sure.
She definitely would be in a band now.
More
that
now.
Oddball woman bass player.
Gotta love those rock and roll fedoras.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing rock and roll about fedoras, Joe.
Incorrect. There's a lot of cool rock and rollers who wore fedoras. I give you Johnny Thunders. I give you Pete Doherty.
They say Freddy Krueger had a mean guitar. He could really slash.
Waka, waka, waka.
Do you know what's her name? The bass player girl here.
Annette?
Annette. She was actually in an episode of Freddy's Nightmares.
Oh, neat.
Oh, nice tie-in.
So that tracks. She's also in Reform School Girls. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie before. That's a fun watch.
There was a time in my life where I would wear a fedora. It looked really cool.
It's not a cowboy hat.
There was a time where I wore a cowboy hat. Now you guys are talking about cool.
Also super cool looks. Yeah, you mentioned Bingo. Bingo, we meet now. He walks out.
I love Bingo.
Bingo's like, is he like a surfery kind of guy?
He's like a Zen surfer guy. Like, I
Oh,
don't know.
he's definitely a surfer guy.
He is Steve Zahn in That Thing You Do if his character in Captain Geach and the Shrimp Shack Shooters was a character in the movie. That's what Bingo is.
But
Yeah.
maybe in the midst of a permanent trip.
Yeah, very fucked up on drugs. Also, how do you get so far from the beach? Chicago has water, but not beach. You can't be a surfer in Chicago.
Sure you can. Why not?
He also is like, when Bingo and Chachi first meet, and Chachi introduces himself, he's like, oh, I know, we met in another life. Here's the $1 I owe you. He's like,
I
oh,
love
right.
that fucking joke.
Of course
That was
you
so
do.
stupid, but it did make me giggle.
This is classic Gordo. That was so fucking stupid. I laughed at it. It was a great joke. I thought it was enjoyable, but this is so fucking stupid.
10 out of 10.
Fucking cancel. God damn it.
So the band is meeting for the first time, and it's like, all right, where's your girlfriend? And he's like, oh, she's running a little late. She'll be here in a minute. Like, oh, very unprofessional. Look, I'll tell you what. Go on tonight alone, and then tomorrow I'll hear the both of you sing together.
Or we could just wait. Sorry.
Yeah, or we can wait, because as we find out, she's 2 minutes away. She is so close. They make the agreement. All right, she'll play tomorrow. Today I'll play solo without her. They all get on stage. We hear that they've been rehearsing all day, but there's never even a talk. Even like, give me a line where Chachi asks, what song are we playing? Or something. Because it's just all of a sudden, 1, 2,
Hit it,
3,
boys.
boom.
I'm okay with this because they're only playing one song at a time. I'm sure they rehearse songs and said, this is the set list. You play
They
this
just
one
met.
first.
They just met. They don't even, like, it's never even
Yeah.
discussed what song.
They're rehearsing all day. You don't know that. Rico could have said, these are the songs we're doing.
Did Chachi rehearse?
I imagine Chachi got the same notes. Hey, these are the songs we're doing. He didn't have to rehearse for them. He's a singer.
This is wild.
But everybody plays differently. You know that. What if the drummer drums faster than a normal drummer? So speeds up the tempo.
Joe, even if he just like looked at them real quick and said like,
No, he should have been like, do you want my love in E? Go. Like
Yeah.
he should have. That's Chachi's fault though.
just give me that. Give me something before they start.
If they were good session style musicians though, they were pros, if they had like, I'm not this kind of musician. I can't look at sheet music and just play a song perfect like a record, but there are people out there that's their job.
Yeah.
No, they're Uncle Rico's sleazy kids. And some
Yeah.
But well, you say that, but they're all good musicians. They even for Bingo, who's like a space case, he's a good drummer. Like it's not like they're bad at playing.
Yeah, with the magic of television, they're good musicians, but story-wise, this is a little bit of a stretch.
Sure, but maybe
True.
for what they lack in personality and hand games, they have in spades in musicianship.
So all he says is he gets on stage and says, you guys want to give me a lead in? And you get 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they start playing.
To be fair, that's all you do need.
But yeah, the song, quite the hit. Instantly, all the girls going crazy. Now, Scott Baio and Erin Moran both do all their own singing in the show.
That's really cool.
I don't think he's a good singer.
I think Scott Baio sings well enough. I think Erin Moran's a pretty good singer.
I was going to say, I think she's pretty good. I don't think he is.
They hide his voice a little bit more.
I have a very specific thing. I love Scott Baio singing. Jay and I were talking recently about my love of the Scott Baio record from around this time. He sings like he can't sing, and it's
Yeah.
endearing to me. He sings like he can't sing to a way that if it was like a little more punky, I would probably pay like $400 for the record he put out because it was terrible and nobody ever wanted it. His record, he does a Rick Springfield cover of How Do You Talk to Girls that you can listen to on Spotify that is so fucking good. It's inept in the best way possible. I stand by it 1,000%.
He is product of, this is a time, not the 60s, but in the 80s, when a lot of television and film stars are trying to capitalize on their fame by also having albums
Yeah.
and double dipping in that regard.
And sports stars, like, oh, you play football? Here's a country record. Like, it was just everybody got a swing.
This is why it should have been Potsy. We all know he could sing.
I mean, Ralph Malph did sing in that episode of Chips where he plays the weird glam rock devil guy.
I mean, Potsy, yes, was the singer in the show, but I don't think this is his style of music.
Could have been Potsy Loves Chachi.
Oh,
Or Joanie Loves Potsy. Yeah.
No, I said what I said.
during the performance is when Joanie shows up. So again, could have waited 2 to 3 minutes and she would have shown up just in time for the song.
This scene also is shot fucking wild because it's point of view shots the whole time. It's point of view of the band. There's like a point of view shot of Bingo where you like see behind Chachi. There's Chachi's point of view and there's point of view from the crowd. Like it's not shot like a sitcom here at all. It's very, very weird.
Yeah, you know what I thought was interesting? To me, when I was watching it, I thought it looked a lot like kind of the way they shot the Dancing in the Dark video. But this came out like a couple years before that. Because at first I was like, are they emulating that style of video? But Dancing in the Dark came out like 2 years after this did.
I feel like Joanie does have a similar haircut to Courtney Cox in that video. So,
but there's a bit of like, because it's that up perspective of like they're like shooting up at Chachi, looking down at like the people in the crowd, and then they cut to the crowd looking up at the singer, like the way they did that video. So I was like, oh, that must be a direct pull. Maybe they stole from Joanie Loves Chachi.
love the idea of Springsteen at this point, who this is pre-Born of the USA. But
Ooh, I like the way this was shot.
It's post like The River and Born to Run. He's like, I want to do a song with that Chachi guy. It's like, I don't think so.
Shut up and take my money.
I would immediately. I want a duet now of Chachi and Bruce Springsteen from the early 80s. I would pay hundreds of dollars to make that happen.
So now we see Joanie's watching along, and the girls, you know, all kind of going crazy for him. One girl jumps up and kisses him, and like I felt like he kind of went in for it. Like he like dipped into the kiss.
He is 1,000%.
He 100% went in for it too.
Hey, he's part Fonzarelli, okay? He can't help it.
She started the kiss, but yeah, he didn't stop the kiss. And it's just like the way it's reacted to is Joanie sees her boyfriend kissing some girls, like, oh, and Chachi's mom just spins her around.
Yeah, she's like, nothing to see here.
Don't look, honey, it's just rock and roll.
Come see the meat fridge.
Yeah. Like, what the hell's going on here?
I feel personally this is kind of unrealistic. Especially if you played in bands for a long time. Girls don't do that to you when you play.
They don't do it to you. They
Maybe
might
you
do
should
to
get
Scott
better.
Baio.
Oh no. Guys, realizations. Realizations.
If they've been performing for a while, you'd think she'd be used to this. Even without the kiss, she seems pretty jealous that girls are into him.
It seems like the Chicago crowd's a little more rowdy than the Milwaukee crowd.
Well, not just that, too. I mean, I would say also those kinds of girls that are like pining for him may not be doing that if his girlfriend is standing right next to him as they're singing ballads.
You don't know that.
They don't give a shit later when they perform together.
That's true. Neither does she, though, because she goes and fucking lap dances some guy in that scene.
We'll
You're
talk
like,
about,
all right,
we'll
what's
talk about
going on
that.
here?
Oh, the weird pedophile?
She's 24, but we'll talk.
She just had a birthday.
She, so the song ends, everyone walks off stage because, again, one song only.
Yeah, that's the most bizarre part, is the one song.
You have a 4-minute set and then a 20-minute break. That is fucking crazy.
Sign me up.
Yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat. I will play any song you want.
I mean, you guys have done performances in places I've not in those settings, but I feel like it would be terrible to lug all your shit over just to do a song.
Well, no, I think the idea here is you do like 5 songs a night, but you do one song break.
Yeah.
I'll say in fairness, if you're in a restaurant, I don't want an entire concert of an act I didn't sign up to hear while I'm having dinner either.
I agree. You go to restaurants sometimes and you're like, oh, let's get brunch. And they're like, and there's a jazz band playing. Like, okay, I'm not getting brunch here. I don't want to fucking hear that. I'll be next to a flute player the whole night.
Yeah, spacing out songs in this setting makes more sense because, like, oh, here's a little break, you look, applaud, and then by the time they go up again, you're probably paying the bill, you know? But yeah, if I sat down to eat and, like, I have to deal with an entire, especially if it's music I don't like, I'd be fucking miserable.
Jay's sitting down and Chachi just comes up and kisses him. It's like...
I think he'd have no problem there.
Then I'd be less miserable, yeah. Berg and I recently got to attend a Taco Bell cantina, which was
so cool.
heavily DJ'd.
I meant to ask if you guys did that.
Was that the one with the shrimp?
What?
I saw a video of a Taco Bell cantina that was being DJ'd by a shrimp.
No, ours is being TJ'd by a human being, but
A great DJ, though.
Typically humans, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, he did play the entirety of Land of Confusion by Genesis. So good on him.
Did you guys go to the Cheetos Cathedral?
No, we did not go to the Cheetos Cathedral.
So you guys didn't renew your vows on vacation, is what Gordo was saying. Yeah.
No, we said we're not going until Joe decides to renew his vows there.
Let's go.
So we have the band talking post-performance, and Bingo's like, oh, it got quiet. Yeah, because the song's over, Bingo. Oh, wow, I missed it again.
I love you, Bingo. I'm on your speed, bud.
Bingo was his name. Oh,
They're pushing some serious lines with how dumb Bingo is.
I didn't mind him at first when he was just like, whoa. And then like that line, I'm like, oh, he's the too dumb to function character.
I think it's a little much for a pilot, but I think one line per episode makes him like a really lovable sidekick character.
Yeah,
Well, he just had his second line. So fuck him.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think it's too much, but I think as a character, you write this better. I'm going that this is not a great writing.
I could see him being a fan favorite.
He's getting like under a minute of play, when all is said and done. I can handle that. I don't like when you have a character that's that dumb, who's like one of the top 5 to 10 people that you're going to see nonstop through an episode.
Unless it's Cody from Step by Step.
The problem with sitcoms is this character's supposed to be a quick little thing, and then the audience falls in love with them, and then all of a sudden they're just on every episode multiple times. The Urkel syndrome.
Then there's a spinoff called Bingo Was His Name O, where he moves to California and becomes a professional drummer. I would watch that so fucking hard.
He joins California Dream.
Sign me up, take my money. He's their manager? It's perfect timing for him to be their manager. Guys, I used to be a rock and roll band in the 60s. I can help you get places.
Now we cut to a little later on, and Chachi's with some of the girls who are there, and they all want like autographs. And like Joanie's walking up behind him as that's happening, and he's signing and, just entertaining all the girls. I wouldn't say he's being too flirty or anything with them. He's just, I think being nice for the most part, but he's kind of like very locked into that moment. So when Joanie goes to like tap him on the shoulder, Chachi doesn't know that it's her. He's like, oh, just 1 second, honey. As he's finishing up with the girl Angel, he turns around. He's like, oh, what's your name? And he doesn't see her yet. And she says, Joanie. And as Joe says in the beginning of the episode, he's like, is that with a Y or an I-E?
You left out that she like hip checks the girl that was standing there.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember it that clearly, that part.
So it starts off, there's another girl standing where she is. Joanie comes and just like sends her flying, and then she comes and sits somewhere else. That's why he doesn't realize Joanie behind him.
Yeah, because Angel moves over because he's still talking to her when Joanie's there. Like they don't like run away or anything. Because Joanie's not also like imposing. She's not like threatening to punch them or anything.
But as soon as he sees her, he is excited. He jumps right up and gives her a kiss and stuff like that. So it's not like he's, hey, babe, it's not what it looks like. Like he's like genuinely happy to see her.
Oh, brings back some happy days.
Yeah.
I imagine though, if this was his first autograph scenario, that has to be like a mental thing where you go like a little blank, right? Where you're like, oh, it's on autographs. People are into me. Like it must make you a little weird.
Joe, you may remember our limited stint as professional wrestlers.
I do.
Did anyone ask you for autographs that day?
I'm pretty sure I got a concussion
Oh.
when I got thrown out of the ring and landed on my neck. So I don't remember a ton of after that match. I don't have a lot of I remember a lot of that day that don't involve alcohol, but like that. I remember the match, but like when I got thrown out, landed on my head, that was day over. I think I ended up getting pizza somewhere later, but yeah, I don't remember much after that.
Oh, it's funny because I remember distinctly like as we were like walking to the back after like a bunch of kids like swarming and signing like a bunch of autographs, and I was like, I've made it. 16-year-old me is like, this is the life.
People love the graveyard shift.
I mean, by design though, Doug and my team were made to be very beatable. I don't think that you want autograph from a team that was like meant to be not rootable, you know?
Yeah, this is not to get into too long of a tangent, just so people are aware if you don't know. Our high school had a very unconventional thing where they let high school students sign up to be wrestlers, and we performed. They rented a ring and they had like a whole wrestling event where all the students performed like in front of a packed gym, and me, Joe, and Ferg participated. Yeah, Joe almost broke his neck.
Yeah, it was not great.
But I think by design, me and Ferg were supposed to be the bad guys.
Oh yeah, you guys were the heels, but like we always made it that you were gonna win because like we were mods, and it was like a mob would never win a fight.
You're
was
damn
like
right.
Jay, you have a copy of that, don't you? You should post it on the YouTube.
I could probably string like a little highlight, like a small clip show together instead of the whole match, but yeah.
It's just Jay flexing.
Oh yeah, no, I was super ripped back in high school. Yeah, let me tell you.
I do a thing at work once where there was like a whole bunch of people, and it was like 2 truths and a lie, and I like couldn't figure out what to do, and I was like, I've had 2 professional wrestling matches. And everyone was like, that's a lie. And I think Jay used my video. I was like, boom, that's us in a wrestling ring actually having a match. People were like, when was that? It's like, it's hard to explain the weirdness of being like, our parents signed a waiver saying that if we died, it was okay when we were fucking teenagers.
Gordo, it's supposed to be you with us.
Sunshine Pegasus.
Yeah, that wasn't happening because I didn't go to high school.
We're all doing great now, though.
During the initial signups, it was supposed to be me and Joe versus Ferg and Gordo.
Yeah.
Because the name of people who watch Joanie Loves Chachi.
What the fuck are they talking about right now? Yeah.
But me and Ferg's tag team name was the name of the band that me and Joe were in together at that time.
Which there was video evidence of that band, and we played 2 shows?
At least one. Which, yeah, somewhere there's a video of it. I've never seen it.
I hope somebody finds it someday.
There might be a video still. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, that would be great to see.
I would love to see that. And you know what? No. I have lived this long thinking I sounded okay. And I want to just die with that thought in my brain. I don't need to know the reality of how terrible I was. I'm no Erin Moran, okay? But I can maybe Scott Baio fake it.
But I will say, when we did those shows, you looked great in the sequin dress.
Yeah. One last tangent into the tangent. Luckily, there's not a lot of meat on the bone in this episode. But so for anyone who's listening, who's interested in our lives, there was a point in time in like maybe in high school where we all talked about starting a giant band called the Mrs. Doubtfire Experience, where we all would be. It was like before remember Band Camaro, how there's just like 20 singers?
Yes.
It was before that, but kind of along those lines where it was just going to be a massive band of like 20 people all playing some bullshit instrument, but we would all be dressed up like grandmothers.
I mean, we can still do this.
I think it would actually, maybe now more than ever.
Now we look way easier like grandmothers, so we're already a step ahead.
Nah, not if Robin can't hear it.
You mean Mork?
He can't hear it either.
Nanu.
All right, well, thanks for making that fun part of our lives sad.
That's why I'm here.
R.I.P. Robin Williams, the best.
How did Ralph Mouth die? Goodbye, Vietnam. Oh, no.
So, to get back all the way back into this episode, there's a point where when he notices Joanie's behind him, gives her a kiss. He's like, listen, it's not what it seems. It was my Uncle Rico. And it's just like public relations. And like, he'll explain it to you. And he calls his uncle over and they exchange pleasantries. You know, then he kind of like looks over at Chachi's like, he looks like a little Miss Goody Two Shoes. Flash forward, and later on, like they kind of use that as like the way to kind of flash into later on. Like I said, they kept doing. So whether it was commercial or not, we get back into like later in the evening. They're still all talking at the table. And he's saying, look, Joanie, image is everything. If Chachi's going to be on stage with a girl, it wouldn't be as good for his image unless the girl was a little. And then Chachi goes, sexier? Yeah. And she's like, thanks a lot. No, I'm just saying what he was thinking.
This is why this whole scene right here, though, is why Scott Baio is so good at this type of thing. Where she's like, what do you want, some sort of sex pot? He's like, no, I want you. Like, the read of that is so fucking funny.
Now picture Ralph Mouth saying it.
No, I want you. And Potsy going, we're breaking up. This is over.
Now he's saying like, how about this? How about we go up and just show them what we do? Like Chachi sings to Joanie, and Rico's like, no, we had a deal. You go up tonight the two of you go up tomorrow, which seems like a really weird like agreement that's like ironclad at this point.
Yeah, I don't get it, especially when there's only going to play like 3 more songs tonight.
Other than the fact that like to change Joanie's attire for the next scene, there's no reason that they can't just do their song next. It doesn't really make sense.
Also, I don't think the contract is ironclad if your manager has 14 hand-drawn business cards. I don't necessarily know if legality-wise, I don't know about the courts of Chicago. I don't know if this is going to be a binding contract.
Hey, it's a handshake agreement.
Hey, listen, who doesn't have 14 hand-drawn business cards on them at all times?
I have 500 business cards I can't use right now because they sent me ones with the wrong email address, and I think that's the funniest thing ever. It's like, oh, cool, garbage. Thanks, guys.
Is it just like a typo, or is it like an entirely wrong email?
Entirely wrong. And I went back and checked the like document where it was like, put your info in. And I was like, well, I was correct.
You should hand those out so some poor guy gets a bunch of emails.
Or so you get no business.
No.
Yeah,
or Joe becomes the worst businessman ever and then hands his card out.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they were just like at gmail.com, it might be somebody, but since it's like at yourcompany.com, it probably isn't going to go anywhere.
Did you guys see like the movie Wicked that just came out like a year or so ago at the time of our recording? So obviously Wicked becomes this huge movie and they make a toy line to go with it. So the toys that hit the shelves on the back, they put the wrong web address on it and they wrote wicked.com, which is if you go to check that site, is not for the Wizard of Oz movie. It's for something more adult. So they had to like instantly recall like thousands and thousands of these toys because the packaging was bad.
People got them though, and I'm sure they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm sure now those will be at like Comic-Cons for fucking ever now.
At least in this case, it's a packaging error, right? Like you don't have to destroy every toy. You could just change like the card backing. But yeah that's going to be a pricey mistake.
Like the Wicked dildo of the West. You're like, guys, we can't sell this at Toys R Us. It's not going to work.
The flying butt plugs.
I remember so many vivid memories of Toys R Us. I remember the WWF Hasbro section at the Revere Mass Toys R Us so vividly and just being like, oh.
See, what I remember is taking the little ticket and
for video games
to the front so they'd bring you your video game to the front, and that was just so exciting.
Yep.
I was thinking the other day how I bought a Batman Forever poster at the Toys R Us when that came out and put it on my wall, and like thinking back now, like looking up at Chris O'Donnell's nipple marks and being like, that feels fucking weird, man. Why was that a thing?
Hey, Gordo did the same thing with Larry the Cable Guy.
Was it across the room from your poster of Edge's nipples?
Test nipples, thank you. And R.I.P. He has no nipples anymore. They have rotted away.
Oh, don't do that.
Skella nipples.
No, when you're a kid, like, even if you didn't get anything, like, just going to toy stores was so fun. Just, like, being in awe of all the shit that was there. Like, a solid half hour in a toy store meant, like, everything when you're a kid.
I also remember going on half days with you guys and just instantly getting thrown out.
Yes, that would happen when we got a little older.
Yeah, a bunch of 16-year-olds walk into the toy store and they're like, please leave. Don't make this a bad thing for us.
And now it's a supermarket.
Yeah.
Strip malls are not what they used to be.
Well, actually,
they are in Vegas.
Yeah, having just come back from Las Vegas, me and Ferg can attest. Outside of the strip, like everything is a gigantic strip mall. Everything.
Florida's like that too. Yeah, like your vet.
Southern California too. Yeah, it's just everywhere you go is just strip malls.
That sounds lame, but it's awesome.
Me and Ferg went to a tiki bar that was in the longest strip mall I've ever seen in my life. It was like 40 stores deep. No, not 40 stories, 40 stores deep.
Wow.
Not a single parking spot.
But anyways, Joanie's saying, listen, I don't want you guys to fight. It's fine. You guys have an agreement. I'll just sing tomorrow. I'll tell my parents I'm going to spend the night. He's like, all right, well, I just have another number to do. So, I'm going to get ready for that. He walks off and Rico's like, look, Joanie, like these girls, they love Chachi, so why don't you just give them a little bit of a break? And then Rico walks off and Joanie talks to herself because we have to hear it, but there's no one else there. This is like, Miss Goody Two Shoes, huh? I'll show them Goody Two Shoes. And then we flash forward to what This confused me at first. I thought this was the second performance of the night, but it turns out it was the next night's performance.
I had the same issue where I thought it was like 20 minutes later.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I got to get ready to do my next song. So Al's up presenting the band, and I was like, oh, that's weird that he's like giving a full presentation again. But whatever, it's probably been a big break, different people in the restaurant. And then here we are with it. It turns out it is the next day because Joanie's part of the band now. But it starts off, it's a song, but I Ain't Too Young to Know. These are all original songs being written.
Yeah, these are all like songs by producers and songwriters.
But written for the show.
Yeah, and none of these are on Scott Baio's albums.
Did they ever say the name of the band or the restaurant?
The restaurant, yeah, is Del Vecchio's. They showed the outside marquee a bunch.
Yeah.
I saw that one of the songs, not in this episode, but there was, I guess, a song in season 2 that was written by Vinnie Vincent.
Yeah, isn't that fucking wild? Yeah.
Yeah.
Vinnie Vincent, if you guys don't know, is the guitar player who replaced Ace Frehley in Kiss.
Oh, good.
He's also a very Italian-looking man who looks very much like Scott Baio, so it sort of tracks.
I hate Ace Frehley.
How do you hate
Hey,
Ace Frehley?
come on
He's
now.
the greatest member of
No,
Kiss.
he is not. I saw him play live once. He was playing Kiss songs, and it was his bass player singing them, and he sounded, and when Ace Frehley sang, he sounded like he was doing drunken karaoke. It was probably one of the
He
worst
probably
set-
just missed his friends.
Also, Cordo, did you see that or did you sound for it?
No, I saw it. I paid money for it.
Well, that's on you.
Oh, well, Alice Cooper was the headliner. So
Okay, well, that's different. All right. And also, in fairness, when Ace Frehley was in Kiss, his bassist was singing too. So
No,
like,
but the songs that Ace Frehley sung, he had the other guys sing them.
I've seen solo performances of Ace Frehley, and he sings his own songs. He sings like Snowblind and stuff.
Nope, it was the bass player, because even my brother and I were texting each other going, what the fuck is this?
Gordo saw a Kiss cover band.
did you go see Mini Kiss?
That was
It would have been better.
Ace
went and
Frehley
saw-
sucked, and he was super short.
He saw Smooch.
I would love to see Mini Kiss for
Me
the
too.
record.
We'll have to track their
I'll
touring
try and
schedule.
find the video. It was bad.
Yeah, I would love to see the video.
I did take video, so I'll find it for you guys.
Anyways, so the song starts, Scott Chachi singing first. So he sings, and then Joanie comes out when it's her turn to sing, but she's in a dress. So
She looks like Liza Minnelli in Cabaret. What are we doing here?
oh, goody two shoes, huh? I'm in a dress.
I have a dress that sparkles when light hits it.
It wasn't showy. There was no cleavage. It's not super short. She's just in a dress.
It's form fitting.
It's a little tight.
She shakes. That's why I said the boob comment earlier.
She does shake. She does do a suggestive shake for
She
sure.
does a little bit of suggestive shaking, but it's not like a low cut dress. She does sit on someone's lap at some point. So this is all with the goal of making Chachi maybe a little jealous and proving that she's not a goody two shoes.
I do like though when she comes out in the dress on the stage and she's singing, he keeps jumping in front of her to block her, which is a very funny like teenage boy thing to do. Like, nobody look at my girlfriend.
Hey, she does it first. She does it when he's signing the autographs.
Well, he kissed a girl.
I was gonna say he was at least like, physically touching. That's worth stopping at least.
Not when he's signing autographs.
The song ends. He's like, hey, can I talk to you for the sidebar? He's like, what the hell was that? What? All of this? Like, I thought you wanted a hot act. And then they like both get into a phone booth together for some reason.
They both come out as Superman, and you're like, what the fuck is this show?
That was my first laugh of the episode. What are you looking for, Superman?
When he was, so Chachi's upset, but he's like being kind of a dick. You looked ridiculous. Even the audience was embarrassed for you. They were not. They were like yelling and screaming and blowing kisses.
They were
at.
super fucking into it. As we find out, one guy was really into it.
He's like, no, they were doing that so you wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah.
And then Uncle Rico comes, and that's when, as you said, what are you looking for, Superman? Says Jody, I'm sorry I called you Miss Goody Two Shoes. Listen, the men are crazy about you.
You got a great rack, girl.
I want you to mingle a little bit. Just like Chachi, it's for public relations.
What guys are really into are really short curls in very regular fitting sequin dresses. So I think we're gonna make $1 million off this act.
I love it. Why are all Uncle Rico's sleazy?
You have to be.
We're getting good Scott Baio acting again because he's like panicky. Like, no, I don't think you need to do any public relations. It's like, well, how come it was okay when you did it? How come? How come? Yeah, how come? How come? I'll tell you how come. Because I wasn't wearing that outfit. That's how come.
He's very good at the like sputtering, flailing sort of thing.
How come he doesn't wow, wow, wow when he sees her? I'm going to leave out his main catchphrase.
Right, he has his catchphrase once in this episode. That's a good call. I didn't even think of that.
Well,
When she came out in the dress, he should have gone like, wow, 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 wow.
And then like have to snap out of it and then like go back to singing.
maybe when he first sees her, when he stands up and kisses her, maybe that would have been the time to do it. When she like tapped him on the shoulder and he signed the autographs, but not like in the middle of the song.
That would have been funny though if he was like,
Yeah.
if she came out and sang something, he looked at her, he like saw her butt, everyone was like, wow, 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 wow. Like, we're like, oh, it's funny.
Joe, did they make did they press this on something like any of these original Joanie Loves Chachi songs?
I don't think so.
I'd be shocked. They're all recorded. They're not. It's not like live to tape on here. Like these are. They went through the trouble of recording all these
I have
tracks.
the Laverne and Shirley album. I have the Lenny and the Swig Tones album. I have Scott Baio's record. I don't have.
Oh, you have the Lenny and the Squig? I was gonna say I went to look for it, and it's not cheap. So
It is not cheap. Yeah. I was lucky enough to find it used a while ago for a decent price.
after we covered it, I got interested. I was like, oh, maybe I'll pick that up. And I'm like, guess not. But the Laverne and Shirley album's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's like $1 record. Yeah, but there's no Joanie Loves. I mean, I think maybe if they would be a third season, they would have. But I think Scott Baio was doing his records right around this time, right? Like I think the first Baio one's like 82.
So I don't know if there's an album, but they are on Apple Music.
Then there must be
See
an
it right
album.
here.
There has to
No,
be.
there's
then.
no. I don't think there's an album.
82, it could have. It's a little early for a CD release.
No, yeah, it would have been vinyl and
Huh.
cassette at this point.
I'm just surprised because they went through all the trouble to record these tracks, and they were releasing everything back then. So
And if you look up all the writers and producers of all these songs, they're all people who were like have very good, big, storied careers. Like,
yeah, like I said, like Vinnie Vincent does a song and stuff. So like, yeah, why not? If you're paying all this money to have these songs made.
Looks to me like Nick at Night put out a vinyl of it. So it was
Huh.
probably a re-release thing, but it's right here on Amazon.
I will look that up.
will you put that in the chat? Yeah, I'm not aware of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
A message 3 hours later where it's like, it's out of print. It's $100. I just spent it. Don't tell my wife.
We flash forward again, and now we see Joanie, and she's sitting at the table talking to one of the guys at the restaurant. It's like, tell me, Joanie, how old are you? He goes, 18. Oh, no, wait, I just had a birthday. I'm 24. I really like that line.
I like this because it's like the trying to be an adult, I'm older than I am thing. But she also is way over her head, and this guy's like, I'm going to fuck this 24-year-old tonight. It's like, no, God, get out of here.
And he's saying, hey, I got invited to a party later on, and I'm inviting you to come with me. He's like, oh, I'm doing another song later, so I can't.
Why didn't she say, I don't think my boyfriend would like that?
Well, she's socializing. You're not
Yeah,
trying
I think
to.
she's still trying to keep up the, the what if appearance. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? To just keep them, there and
Also, like anything that starts with like a no thank you should be enough.
Yeah, agreed. But also, like, imagine what her night would have been. So I've been drinking all night and eating chicken parm. Do you want to try to fuck 5 hours from now? Yeah, that's going to go so fucking well.
Now imagine if he had a less dense eggplant parm in his stomach. That old fuck machine would be ready to go.
He's like, I'm sorry. My stomach feels good, but I can't get an erection because I've only eaten eggplant all night. I'm
Is
so
that
sorry.
is that something that happens if you eat too much eggplant that I'm unaware of?
I wouldn't know because I only eat chicken parm like an adult.
No.
I only eat chicken parm where you can't get an erection because you're asleep. It's a different non-erection. The parm wars will never die.
Never.
Poor Potsy died in the parm wars of 1961.
I still get grossed out thinking about. I think it was Gordo brought up turkey parm.
You can parm anything.
You can parm anything.
But
Yeah.
you
If
shouldn't.
you put cheese and sauce on it, it's going to be good.
Oh, when we talked about how there's no such thing as like a beef palm and none of us thought of meatballs.
Meatballs, yeah, that was embarrassing. That's one of the times you get a comment and you go, wow, we're all fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Our followers dropped like 500%.
In
I'm
fairness,
sorry.
in my brain, I'm thinking of like a beef cutlet that it has cheese
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sauce.
Oh,
on it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not-
yeah, me too.
You're thinking of like a piece of steak with chicken parm on it. You're like, no, no one wants that.
Which would also be good.
Wait, that would just be brajol.
A beef cutlet.
Yeah, I mean it's a beef cutlet wrapped up basically.
Anyways, we've done
can't
this a
stand
lot.
behind
So we gotta trek through a little bit.
Oh, but we could talk about coffee every episode, but we talk about palm a couple
That's what I'm
times.
talking about mustard for a
Well, hold
while.
on. In fairness, we talk coffee when coffee comes up in the show.
Palm's up right now, baby.
We've talked about parm multiple times this episode. There's been no parm eaten this whole episode.
It's an Italian restaurant. Palm was eaten.
Listen,
Yeah.
we should do a YouTube series of Can You Parm This? And we just parm random things.
Joe, would you eat ham palm?
Yeah, but he wouldn't eat pork parm.
Fuck you, Nick. How dare you? For YouTube, yes, but I would be so upset that there's no mustard on it.
Ugh. Just the thought of breadcrumb and egg and frying ham. I like
No,
ham,
no,
but-
you could just
Yeah.
put the sauce in the.
No, if you're gonna parm something, you do it. It's gotta be breadcrumb and
Yeah, you
egg.
gotta really parm
You
it.
gotta.
Okay, we should parm it.
All right, parm challenge. Everyone gets a different thing to parm, and we have to all eat it together.
That's not fair. I eat so little things.
Oh, how do you think I feel right now, sir? Johnny food allergy. I don't have a
Ferg's
lot
gonna
of
get
options
pickle
either.
parm.
Ferg's
No.
gonna get broccoli parm.
I
All right,
abstain.
everybody, time to try my fish and gluten parmesan.
Why isn't Joe been on the episodes? Oh, he died. He's dead now. He's a dead person.
In the
They all
corner of
laughed
the pile
at
of
him.
his own shit.
It's like Phil Hartman and the colon blow. Like, well,
2 bowls, 4 bowls. So this guy's trying to get Joanie to go out with him. He's like, listen, when Tad asks, you go, okay? She's like, but I don't want to.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a real Tad thing to say.
if you go by the name of Tad, you say this shit for fucking sure.
Well, his full name is Tad Masterson.
Is it Tadrick? What is Tad short for?
I think Thaddeus.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna say no.
That makes the most sense to me.
I got nothing better.
Tad is primarily a short form of the names Thaddeus, Theodore, and Thomas.
Okay.
I would have went with Tadpole.
This is my son Tadpole.
I would prefer if my name was Thaddeus, I'd be going by Diaz.
Why aren't you
Diaz
saying it
nuts.
was Chachi
Diaz.
anymore? I fucked a Tadpole. He
Good
was
one,
mad
Jay.
about it.
Damn it. All you guys do is make D's nuts jokes. Will you guys please make mature jokes?
That damn it was so genuine.
Let's talk about poop for a little while.
Can you parm poop?
Do we have time to tangent real quick so we can talk about poop and farts for a little while?
This show would be funnier if Joanie farted.
Dude, imagine if she was giving that guy a lap dance and she just.
Literally, only you and like I think one of the
Ferg is
people we
dying
talked
right
to
now.
would think that was funny.
So, anyways, Chachi walks up to this guy to stop him at this point. Like, hey, she said no. So Tad stands up. Tad's about a foot taller than Chachi is. He's like, butt out songbird.
Tad's a tall man.
You know, respect to Chachi. He don't back down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most sitcom main characters would be like, like back
yeah.
off.
This is where you'd expect like a humana.
So this becomes, you want to step outside? And the 2 guys go outside. And right as they're leaving, the Cunninghams walk in, Joanie's parents.
Yay!
So we do
Yay.
get a cameo episode 1, which is,
That was fun to see.
it's like, surprise.
Gotta love Howard,
Seeing Tom Bosley just puts a smile on your face.
right?
They noticed Joanie's dress. What was she wearing? Well, it wasn't the costume I made her. Well, I should hope not. The one I made had a little collar. And then it,
Was just a collar.
yeah, just a collar.
She's totally naked with a collar on.
And then about
cuffs.
like 10 seconds into that conversation, Chachi walks back in. Now he's carrying Joanie. Joanie, I'm so sorry. But you did jump between us. And then, Joanie, what happened? hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Chachi punched me in the face. And he goes, he what?
This is the funniest part of the episode.
Tom Bosley fucking kills it. And again, smart move to bring them into this, right? Like, that makes this so much better.
I love this.
He explains, I was trying to punch someone else, which reminds me. And then he like runs on, hey, pal, you better get out of here. And like yells this guy off as if he was about to run back in for this fight.
No, he said what? I forget exactly what it was, but it was like, I'm gonna give it to you worse than I gave it to her. Or something like that.
From there, we cut to later on in the day. Now we're upstairs in the apartment. First, you get Mr. Cunningham like, how could you let a young girl perform in a dress like that? Again, like they're really making it sound. I mean, maybe for the '60s, I don't know. I mean, I can't in context, but
This is less skimpy than something like Nancy Sinatra would have worn. Like, it's not yeah.
And then you're getting, look, Mr. Cunningham, this isn't the frumpy 50s. This happens to be the sexy 60s. And your daughter happens to have a terrific figure. It's like, oh, my guy, you can't say that.
Yeah, you can't say that about this, like, 24-year-old lady. Also, though, that's where this is different. You could literally say, and it's not wrong, look, it's not the frumpy 50s anymore. It's the sexy 60s. He wasn't lying. That's, like, how much of a cultural change there was. If you were like, this isn't the frumpy 2019s anymore. This is the sexy 2025s. You'd be like, nothing has changed. It's the exact same fucking time.
Yeah, I think this aids back to what we were talking about before. I think the decades were really more clearly defined back then. For whatever reason, there were shifts.
Yeah, now it's just like, remember that mid-level star Katy Perry who sang? Now she went to space for some fucking reason. It's different now. Be like, oh, cool.
Sure, she did.
Yeah, you mean she pretended to go to space?
Yeah, she sort of went to the moon. Wink, wink.
You
wink.
mean Stanley Kubrick filmed her going to space?
No, I think he's still dead.
That's what makes it even that much more.
That's even more spooky.
Katy Perry, space. Like, Stanley, we didn't bring you back for this.
Stankenstein?
Cuba Stankenstein?
Cuba Stank?
What a horrible band name, Hooba Stank.
I like the idea, though, that Hooba Stank was forward thinking. They were like, someday they're going to dig up Stanley Kubrick, and this will all make sense to everybody.
Do you think they named themselves after like a poop?
I thought it could have been a rumor. Wasn't that like supposed to be Jesus' middle name?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
I don't know if that's true. That's what I've always heard.
Hoober Stank Christ. What?
Yeah, Jesus H. Christ.
It's not
I don't know if that's
Hoober
true.
Stank. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I always like to think of it, it's like a Homer. It's Homer J. Simpson. So it's Jesus H. Christ. His name's just like H.
If you type in Jesus Hoobastank Christ, the first thing that pops up is dank Christian memes on Reddit. So, Gordo, I feel like this is something that you run.
It could be.
Dank Christian memes. That's the Gordo-ish shit that ever did exist. How many Pope memes have you posted this week?
Oh, tons. And you're not even in the groups that I am posting them to.
All right, so I'll say this. There's no factual evidence that Hoobastank is Jesus' last name, middle name. However, if you type in Jesus Hoobastank Christ, you get way more hits than if you type in Camp Bush. So
You're really into Hoobastank.
That's the clip for the week right there. It was so earnest.
I think that has to be like nothing else. Like maybe just him saying that right into our music.
That made me so happy that you were just so honest and earnest about it.
Rico walks up to Mrs. Cunningham and says, talking about figures, it's pretty obvious what side of the family your daughter gets hers from, huh?
She is so stoked by this, by the way.
This dude.
Oh, weird. A sleazy cop? Who would have thought?
Then that's when Mr. Cunningham says, I'm going to hit you so hard your grandchildren are going to be born with headaches.
I like that.
That was a good one. I enjoyed that.
I'm going to use it one day.
So now Al and Louisa walk in. They must have just closed up the restaurant for the night. It's like, oh, another great night. They're telling Joanie, like, come on, get your stuff together. We're going back to Milwaukee. Her parents, that is. And she's like, Dad, I can't go now. This could be a summer job for me. And he's saying, look, I can't in good conscience leave you with this man. Like, which, fair. He just, like, complimented his daughter's body and then his wife's body. Like, there's no way this is going to be the guy that you're going to trust to watch your daughter for the entire summer.
In the big city.
With her boyfriend.
You know, like sex crazed 18-year-old boy. Like, not saying anything about Chachi, just like 18-year-old boys are like sex crazed maniacs. Like, it's a terrifying thing.
Like secretaries.
They're always so horny.
So to get things like rolling and to be able to have like the conversation with just the adults, like, hey, you know, Joanie, that you should probably get some ice on that. Where, you know, don't forget Chachi just punched her in the face. So they're like, all right, yeah, I'll walk you down to the restaurant, and Chachi brings her down there so we can ice her face up a little bit.
Could have been a big piece of steak.
This was a slice of hell for me, though, where he was like, can you go downstairs? We'll get some ice. There's no ice upstairs. That's hell. You want a drink? Yeah. You want some ice? We don't have any. What the fuck are we doing right now?
Well, it could be just an in-the-moment thing. This is, you know, you got to make sure your ice trays are full and stuff, so.
Yeah, that's bad housing if you don't have full ice trays.
You have a restaurant downstairs. You can just go down and get it.
What if they had already had a few drinks? Like, how many ice trays do they have to have at all times?
Look.
It's also the 60s.
They didn't have automatic
People
ice.
are going to come over. Yeah, it's like not having an ashtray, even if you don't smoke. It's the 60s. Like, people are going to come over and want drinks. They're going to come over and they're going to want. So you always have enough ice for everybody. If it's a summertime and you want ice and there's no ice, that sucks, man. Like, you make as much ice as possible. Those trays are always full.
Are you going to make a lot of ice when you have a restaurant downstairs with endless ice?
You know what? That is I concede to that. Okay, if they have like an industrial ice maker downstairs, you're like, just go downstairs and get some, bring it upstairs, put it in the fridge.
Although,
that's
in
fair.
fairness, and I guess to overcomplicate this even more, if you have an ice machine downstairs, maybe fill a little bowl and leave it up and bring it up to your house.
Always leave it in your freezer. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, like hotel style. You fill the ice bucket.
For argument's sake, let's just say at this moment they just ran out and they need to go downstairs to get ice. Because this was a device to get the kids to go downstairs. And now he's like, I didn't want to say anything in front of the kids. And the conversation is, Al loves Joanie as if it was his own daughter. And he would never let anything happen to her. But Al is someone who is a bit soft. He's not one to stand up for himself or for others. He's compared to a marshmallow.
I think better here, though, is that to do Al's character more justice when he's like, he's a good man, but he's kind of a ... marshmallow. Al should have been like, thank you. Like, he should have not understood that was a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think that joke would have landed very well here. Instead, they give too much space to it.
They're saying this, and it's like, just the idea of, if Rico's to get out of line, Al's the one who needs to stand up and make sure things are fine. And they don't necessarily feel comfortable enough with him doing that. So this is when he's like, shit, I need to step up. Like, I'm getting all the hints right now. So he walks up and goes, hey, look, Rico, I admit I don't know much about the music business. He's like, yeah, I know. I'll take care of it. He's like, I'm not through. And then the crowd, ooh.
The crowd goes fucking bananas in this scene.
And that's when he kind of goes into it. He's like, listen, I don't know much about the business. And maybe you could help Chachi and Joanie get a start, but they're wonderful kids and they're good people. And I want you to know, as long as I have a breath of life in this body, nobody, including you, is going to do anything to hurt them or to hurt what they are to each other. Wait, and I like that he added that part of it. Not just hurt them, but you're not going to get in the way of their relationship either. So, like, the stuff when it comes to, like, the socializing and flirting with girls and guys to get attention, like, no, like, their relationship is important, and, like, that comes first. It was good. Al's character kind of needed that. So that's enough to prove to the Cunninghams and to his wife and to the audience that, you know, he's not just this frumpy idiot.
Like, the idea is like, and by the way, no encores. They don't play any encores. Encores are a 1 pound family sized meal. This is not a thing they play twice at the end of the night.
Try the fish.
For tasting more, it's Alcor. He also clearly has pants that need a better belt. I love the physical comedy of him, like, pulling his pants up a bunch here.
Very
and the crowd
Mertian.
loses it, but, like, that means your belt doesn't fit.
It's because his wife keeps boiling his pants.
Yeah.
But that would make them tighter. Is she boiling his belt in cold water? What's happening?
We flash forward a little bit after that, and we see Rico as he's leaving, and he's walking downstairs, and he sees Chachi icing Joanie's face. He's like, hey, your Uncle Rico worked things out. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, looks like the three of us are going to be together a lot this summer, but we have to do it Al's way. It's like, all right, see you later, Uncle Rico. It's like, they didn't even say, like, what's Al, like, they don't even know what that means. Like, yeah, we're gonna do it Al's way. I guess I have to look out for you and make sure you're good to each other. Shucks.
I will say though, as somebody who was in bands as a young kid, somebody being like, "This is what we're doing, and this is why you play music, and this is how you're gonna like it." I get them being so young to be like, "We'll just follow it." And I appreciate Rico being like, "We'll do the sleazy thing, but we'll do it Al's way." Like, I get them not questioning it.
Yeah, but kids are rebellious. I don't think they would just follow.
I agree, but I don't think Joanie and Chachi are rebellious because we know their characters enough from Happy Days.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I was a little confused with. As soon as they find out that like Joanie's gonna get to stay there throughout the summer after Rico leaves, and she's like, "Oh, and I've got something that's gonna really please my dad. Remember my friend Suki?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, the brain, yeah. She's taking courses at Northwestern, and she wants me to stay with her. So it'll make my dad feel like I almost got into college." And it's like, huh?
Yeah.
I think that was a failed joke, but I think it's actually just she'll be happy that she's not. He'll be happy she's not staying with her boyfriend. It was a weird comment.
It just seems so out of place. It's like, where did this come from?
Yeah, did I maybe this is what you had to watch Happy Days for.
Should have replied with, "Oh, Suki it to me."
Oh, Suki now.
Maybe you have a future episode where they, well, you guys can't stay in the same room, and she's like on the couch and it's uncomfortable and she can't sleep. And then she finds out her friend's in town. Like, maybe next episode you find that as a reason for her to not be in the same house as them. But like this, like out of nowhere line, like they're just forcing this exposition in so we can get past it for the next episode.
You think maybe that was added and like the test audience didn't like them sleeping under the same roof, not being married because it was a different time?
Or it was a character who's like a one-off in that season of Happy Days we don't remember. And they're trying to like build the connections, but it's just like it doesn't land,
I don't know. I just didn't like how they just kind of forced that in there out of nowhere. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of ends with like this, like them having this conversation about, hey, how come like we've been dying to see each other, and then once we finally did, it's just been all weird this whole time. It was like basically like, oh, well, now we're adults, so we have real adult problems.
Yeah, he said when we were kids, we just went to the movies and the drive-in, and now we're adults. Something to that degree.
But also like being 18 and being like, we have adult problems now. We're 18. It's like, how fucking dare you? Man,
to
what
be
an
fair,
easier time in life it was to think that.
Gotcha, you still live with your mom and stepdad.
to be fair,
You get pants for lunch every day.
can you palm pants?
We could try.
That's when Fonzie was like, oh, pants soup?
Whoa.
I do also like that they kiss, and then there's that conversation like, I think everything's going to be fine. Yeah, if you don't carry on like you did tonight. Well, yeah, if you don't flirt with all the girls after the show. One is business, the other is smut.
Those are rules to live by. Guys, on the podcast, groupies who come up to us all the time, we have to be like,
All the time. Yeah.
business, not smut.
I do like that Joanie feels this argument like starting to brew, and she's like, you know what? Tomorrow night, do you want to go bowling or to the movies? And just like turn it back into like, let's just be kids for a minute. That turns into more kissing and fading out of the episode.
And then if you find this on YouTube, as you easily can, you'll be like, how are there 4 more minutes of this episode? And then you go, oh, thank my poor cramping hands, my notes are done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, great, I get to hear them sing again.
That's what I thought too. They were going to end on another number, another ditty, if you will.
That's what I thought it was. I thought that was the closing credits was just the same as the opening credits.
Yeah. For those listening, though, the version we had was a 28-minute episode, or at least a 28-minute video. So we just assumed that's how long the show was. And then at the 24-minute mark, this happens, and we're like, well, what are the other 4 minutes? And it was just a weird copy that restarts the video for a few minutes and then cuts off. So luckily, only 24 minutes.
I was surprised too, because this is late enough. When I saw 28 minutes, I was like, no way. They only had, in a big show with a lead in, they only had 2 minutes of commercials. Like,
Well,
sorry.
Great show.
So yeah, in any event, we've covered the entirety of the show. There's not a lot to say. There's so much to say about Happy Days, but when it comes to just Joanie Loves Chachi, it's not a show that's forgotten, but it's like we all knew it, but I don't think any of us had seen it. It's just one of those shows that everyone knows existed, but who watched it? For our generation, at least.
I will say this, though. we see a lot of shows like this. This show did get a full DVD release, right? Like, so there was enough on the bone, and people I thought would buy it. They did this, and we've done shows that are later, have bigger stars, seem to have more of a cultural cachet at this point, that don't get a like modern re-release, or like you have to at least make it like somebody with a computer had to take all of these episodes and remaster them to make them into HD.
So what this show benefits from, and what could have even led to the DVD release, or could have even led to the fact that it went a second season, is this stems from one of the biggest shows of all time, and it has characters from it. And Happy Days will have such super fans that anything that even touches that IP will make some money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe the show doesn't do as well as you think, but even as a DVD, there are hardcore Happy Days collectors. So by default, we'll buy Joanie Loves Chachi. So like there is a, not saying that's entirely how they're going to make their money, but they do have a little bit of a rub from that that's going to benefit them.
I will say, though, the issue with streaming we see with a lot of shows is there is music in every episode of this. Is definitely why it's not on a streamer right now, right? Like, it should be on,
this
like,
is all their own music, though.
No, that's not their music. It's written by people, right? So, like, they wrote these songs, and they said, yes, you can use it, and the contracts say in syndication, but they don't say for streaming because that never existed. So when they go to put all these shows on, they have to rewrite those contracts with people, and if they don't agree to the terms...
Now, and it depends on if you were paying to have the songs written for you when you own them outright, or they're owned by the studio that owns the videos, and that's all stuff it's never exactly the same in every situation, so it's tough sometimes to speculate, but music gets very complicated.
Yeah, music could be in perpetuity, so it doesn't matter, or it could be, for home video, but not streaming, and then every person who has a right has to be agreeing to it for a cut of money. And how much money are they going to make off this streaming, right? Like, so those shows just die.
Not a ton to say about the show other than what we've already covered. I don't want to run too late on this one, so I think we might as well get into the green light or cancel. Don't know what order to go in. I'll start a little reverse. Gordo, you can lead us off.
I can lead us off? Wow, thank you, Jay. This is a cancel. This was not good, any way, shape, or form. Al was good, actually. Yeah, Al was good. The pantsuit, that was good. I felt like it dragged. I felt like this almost felt like a special that, like, should have just existed. That's cool. See you later. I don't have a desire to see another episode. I can see why other people would want to see another episode. So I personally don't like it, but it's not one of those things that I would be shocked if this got greenlit by us. So, cancel for me.
Nick.
Yeah, also a cancel. There was a couple funny moments in this, and I don't dislike the characters. There's just we talked at the beginning of the episode about like how to view this show, whether it be through the eyes of somebody when this came out or now, and I realized it kind of didn't matter because I just don't think this is good sitcom pilot, regardless of how you look at it. They tried to live off of the success of something else. They leaned on that too much, and I don't think they put enough effort into being an original sitcom with their own ideas enough. And because of that, I just can't greenlight. I just think there's not enough there to entice you to keep watching. It's just too much of something else and not enough of itself. So yeah, it's a cancel.
Ferg.
I don't like the way they did this show. I can't stand that. If I turned this on without knowledge of Happy Days, I'd have no clue why these characters from Happy Days are in Chicago. And you can't have that be the main thing. At the very least, they could have put like a clip thing at the beginning to show even a couple scenes from Happy Days that this is why they're in Chicago. Because I was just confused. I could have heard Potty's beautiful voice, but instead I had to hear Scott Baio sing 4 fucking times, Joe. 4 times. Like Gordo, I liked Al. I liked him on Happy Days. I like him on this. He's a funny, harmless character. Maybe a little bit more of him. I liked when the Cunninghams showed up. I even liked Uncle Rico after Al put him in his place. I think if we got a little more of the softened Uncle Rico, his character would have been more acceptable. But I don't like the start of this show, like I said, and that really turned me off to the entire thing. And I don't think it's a strong enough plot to go on multiple seasons, even though it did. So it's a cancel from me.
Well, Joe.
I think Gordo touched on something very real here. I think this should have been a summer replacement show that was existing for just a summer. It should have existed between 2 seasons. Hey, like, Al and Ellen moved to Chicago. Joanie and Chachi are going to do this thing for the summer as their vacation and then come back to Happy Days. It probably shouldn't have been 2 seasons. It should have been like a thing to keep ratings up during the summer. We'll get them to do it. I think that makes the most sense because you kind of get the best of both worlds. And again, you can bring in the characters from Happy Days original to it for different episodes. I think that clearly it failed and they had to revert back because it wasn't the best written thing. But I did enjoy it. I do like the singing. I do like the weird, different angle of things. The time frame makes no sense. There's things that are idiosyncratic that I don't think work at all. But I did enjoy this. I think a little bit of character actor heaven stuff for me, where I'm like, I love all these people and them interacting is so fun. But it's a green light for me.
I struggled a little bit with this. There were some fun parts, but I thought the execution was really bad. It claims to be a show in the 60s. And other than the fact that they're telling me it's the 60s, that's the only way I would know that. Where Happy Days does a very good job of painting, you know, the 50s all over it, from style to music to the look and the lingo and everything. And they just kind of abandoned that here. I don't love that we get thrown into it this way, but to defend it, we aren't privy to being in 1982 or whatever, watching this live when it happens, where I'm sure it would make perfect sense and it flows in a little bit better. And I don't fault them for doing it the way they did it, because in the moment that works. They're not looking out, 40, 50 years later. But they just could have did a way better job of storytelling in general. This whole, it just didn't like this. The band playing together bothered me. I probably more than anything. The just like, hey, here's your band, go up and play, and then they're all phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a cancel for me. I just think the show needed a bit of work. But if you're gonna do a timepiece, I need to feel like I'm being transported, and they really didn't do a good job of that. So unfortunately for Joanie Loves Chachi, only 1 out of 5. So you are getting the cancel from us. I want to thank all of you for listening. Again, this was week 2 of Mother's Month. Stay tuned. We got 3 more weeks ahead. Follow us, S1E1pod.com. That's where you can find all the links where you can listen to us, our social medias, where to buy a t-shirt, all that stuff. Hit us up. Let us know shows you want us to cover. Talk to us in general. How'd you find us? We really love interacting with you guys. We say it all the time. So keep it up. But yeah, that's it for now. Until then, we'll catch you again next week with another new episode. So thank you. Goodbye.
Mom, text me back.